Throughout the history of the world, great teachers have inspired, persuaded, and motivated students. The goal of the St. Lucie Public School Teacher of the Year program is to recognize and celebrate the wealth of excellent teachers that exists across our district. All of us recall a certain teacher, a very special someone who inspired us to learn. All of us have sat in the classroom of many great teachers. Regardless of their fields of studies, they are all visionaries who led by example, shared wisdom, advocated for students, inspired others to join the profession, and whose action transformed lives. The St. Lucie Public School Teacher of the Year program began some 43 years ago and is meant to be one that celebrates and honors inspiring teachers and recognizes the importance of teaching. Every day, we, along with 100 million parents, entrust our children with teachers. They instruct, guide, coach, and inspire them to fulfill their greatest potential. This program presents some extraordinary men and women whose timeless wisdom echoes the integrity, strength, character, and passion of educators all across our district and our nation. This program is a tribute to and for teachers and celebrates the special and often heroic role they play in the lives of students. This program is, in our small way, an opportunity to say thank you to those who educate, encourage, empower, and inspire the students of our world. Our robust program is designed to bring national attention to the importance of excellence in teaching and celebrate the talents and commitment of these extraordinary teachers. Let's meet some of them now.
My name is Bobby Ingram Jr., the Director of Bands of Treasure Coast High School. Music is the universal language, so it contributes to St. Lucie Public Schools because that is some kids' only outlet. Music is a lot of these kids' family. I don't teach a class, I teach life. We learn community in this art. We learn love in this art. We learn the value of family in this art. We learn spirit, unity, discipline, attitude in this art. So that's why it's important. The kids come to school, they come from different environments, so when they come here, they need a place that's structured, a place that is energetic, a place where they can be themselves. So it's super important for me to show up to make sure that they have that atmosphere and they have that place where they can just genuinely be themselves. Sometimes the hardship of home bears the kids down, so it's just really just keeping them encouraged to keep going. My favorite part of the day, honestly, is seeing the kids. Seeing the kids and working with the kids and getting into a piece of music and mastering just a section of music and putting it all together. But even beyond all that is getting to know each and every individual that I'm able to work with. I am Bobby Ingram Jr., and I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
We're excited to welcome you to week 4 of our Teacher of the Year Spotlight Show. And first up today is the wonderful Miss Lindsay Neshkoff, who's the Teacher of the Year over at Fellon Elementary School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her the very dynamic Heather Ricksecker, the wonderful and proud principal there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
It is a pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you as we share with our many viewers some of the dynamic teachers that we have here serving families and students every day. With that said, would you briefly introduce yourself to them?
Yes, I have been teaching. This is my 17th year teaching. I've completed 13 at Fairlawn and 3 at Allapattah Flats. I am a product of St. Lucie County. I went to Fairlawn as a student there, and then I went to LPA and then FAU. My mom and aunt also worked there, as well as my grandmother. So when we say the Fairlawn family, we really mean the Fairlawn family.
Awesome.
In my blood.
Cool, yes. Ms. Ricksecker, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, gladly. I am the proud principal of Fairlawn. This is my 19th year in St. Lucie County as a teacher or administrator. And I am also a graduate from Lincoln Park Academy, so go Greyhounds.
Go Greyhounds. We'll get it out of the way right now. Go Greyhounds, yes. So the Fairlawn family, let's start there. Because education is in your blood, did you always want to be an educator?
Yes. I always had a chalkboard in my classroom and little stuffed animals. I would go after graduating and being in high school and then college, I would go and volunteer in my aunt's classroom and watch her teach and work with students and help her grade papers or trace, whatever she needed. So I always felt like this was what I wanted to do.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
My favorite part of teaching is seeing my students smile. I love seeing their smiles as we do different activities, and just those small moments in the day where they're like, this is the best day we've had. That really touches my heart.
Share with me what you think makes you a good teacher.
I feel like I'm a good teacher because of all the hard work and dedication that I put into my craft. I'm always learning. I always am looking for the best new practices. I attend lots of professional developments outside of school, and I always just want to be the best for my students.
I know Fairlawn extremely well. Tell me, how does it feel to know that you're the representative of all of those teachers as their Teacher of the Year?
It's very exciting to be Teacher of the Year for Fairlawn and a very big honor. My aunt, who taught first grade there for 30 years, was Teacher of the Year, and so I see her face on our wall of Teachers of the Year, and it was always my goal to be on that wall with her, and so now I get to be there. And it's nice too to know that my peers voted for me and they see this accomplishment as well.
Very much so. Ms. Ricksecker, I'm coming by tomorrow, and you're just going to walk me to visit some classes, and of course, by design, your design, we end up in Ms. Neshkoff's class. Share with me what a day is like there.
Oh, Ms. Neshkoff makes her students feel like Fairlawn is their second home. Her room, from the moment you walk in, is so engaging. Everything has its place. It's labeled. The students are working in their groups next to each other. She is extremely techie. So she wrote a grant a while ago, and she has a smart board in her classroom. She was the first one. She uses it. Her kids use it. They love it. They find it engaging. You see the smiles on the faces, like she said. Her smile is reflected in their smiles, and their love of learning really is because they have a love for her and respect for her, because she makes them feel like they are her kids, and anything they need, she guarantees that they have so that they can be successful.
Take a moment and describe her for me using 3 adjectives.
Oh, well, 100%, she is a forward thinker. She's always trying to make sure that anything coming down the line that her students are going to need, that she is ready to address it or is ready to learn it so that they can, in fact, learn from her. Same way with our teachers. She leads professional development. She started one this past year on the science of reading for all of our faculty and staff, so that's been amazing. So she's a forward thinker. She's definitely a leader. She's a leader on her team. She's our grade chair. She's a leader among the campus, always involved in so many different activities. And honestly, kind. She just has a very kind heart and a giving nature, and she is that way with her students, with the staff, and with all of her families.
Ms. Neshkoff, what do you say to parents to help them ensure the success of their children in your environment?
I like to work with my parents as a team. I tell them that we're a team together, and they are the most important part of that team. Without them, I cannot be successful. So I'm always in communication with them, helping them to know exactly how they can help their students at home.
What do you think is one of the most pressing issues for educators today?
I've noticed over the last few years a lack of language and communication with our students, and that's due to many different reasons. And so I would love to encourage families at home to have more conversations, to put the technology away for a moment, sit around the dinner table, talk, interact with each other, and just have the back and forth conversations and conversation skills. And I think that would go a long way in the classroom as well.
So, Ms. Ricksecker, what makes Ms. Neshkoff the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
Honestly, she's just a well-rounded educator, from continuing to be a lifelong learner and getting involved in different opportunities that are presented to her, to her involvement down on the kid level. I mean, she gets right down on the ground with the kids And she represents everything that Fairlawn is, from her family history where she used to go help her aunt. Now her aunt and her mom are always in helping her with her classroom and the whole school's needs. So she's just well-rounded in everything.
I'm your educational genie, and I have given you 3 wishes, but one of them has to be a wish for education. What would you wish for education?
I think I would wish for more time. I would love more time to spend with my team and more time to spend with administration, our reading coaches, our interventionists, to really talk about the students' needs and to have that time to spend for planning.
So let's have some fun. Talked a lot about the educator side, but you gotta have a fun side. Favorite food?
Chocolate.
Ooh, my kind of girl. All righty, favorite restaurant?
Taco Dive.
Favorite movie?
I am a rom-com girl, so any rom-com I love. My Best Friend's Wedding is a great one.
Okay. Favorite song?
Favorite song, I am an elder millennial, so I love that late 90s, early 2000s.
I like the description, that elder millennial. Awesome. Do you have a favorite quote?
Yes, a quote that I love is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Cool. You brought along a prop with you that
I
kind of
did.
describes you. Share with us.
So when I was volunteering in my aunt's classroom, she would have me grade papers, and I would always use her easy grader. And so I couldn't wait to get one of my own, and back then Amazon wasn't a thing. So she got me an easy grader my very first year, and this is the one that she got me. It has been with me my entire career, and so I kind of feel it's breaking a little bit here and falls apart, and I feel kind of like my easy grader sometimes. It started off shiny and new, and now sometimes it's broken, but just a little love, you put it back together and you're all good.
Awesome. So, final question for you. You're the teacher of the year. So that means you're the school's representative, the school's voice. What's your message?
My message is one of thanks to the teachers, thanking them for all of the hard work and dedication that they put in every single day to their classrooms, and also for the community to remember their teachers, because their teachers haven't forgotten them. I know that I remember all of my students' faces, and I love seeing them out and about in the community, and just hearing them tell me what they're doing and thank you just means the world to us.
Thank you both for joining us as we celebrate the Teachers of the Year here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Anna Babcock. I am a teacher at Fairlawn Elementary, teaching K-5 gifted and high achieving. And this is my 16th year in St. Lucie Public Schools. I believe the most important aspect of my job is having the privilege to develop that next upcoming generation of students to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Elementary is the foundation. Our students, sometimes this is their first experience in school. They are with us for several years compared to middle and high school. So it's the opportunity of planting that seed for the love of learning and just making them passionate about learning. I try to keep our students fully engaged, like giving them an environment that they take ownership in their learning. My favorite part of the day is when I get to teach math. I just get really excited about it. I love numbers. The most rewarding part of my job is observing my students when they have that moment of feeling successful. It's that moment where you can see it in their face. They light up, they're smiling ear to ear, and you just know in that moment they're feeling so good about themselves and proud of the accomplishment. I am Anna Babcock. I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
It's a pleasure for us to welcome to our Spotlight Show Mr. Pedro Martorell, who is the fantastic Teacher of the Year over at St. Lucie West Centennial High. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
He's brought along with him my very good friend, the proud principal, Miss Andrea Popwell. Pop, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have both of you on the show. We're going to jump right in. How does it feel for you to know that you have been selected as the Teacher of the Year over at Centennial?
Well, to be honest, it was overwhelming and surprising. I'm still, when I think about it, I still don't believe it, but it's such a big honor.
Great honor. So briefly, because many of our viewers may not know who you are, introduce yourself to our crew.
All right, well, I'm Pedro Martorell. I was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Georgia when I was like 10 years old. Believe it or not, I didn't always want to be a teacher. I went to college to be a broadcasting major, and I worked for the ABC and Fox TV stations, but I had like a minor in education because I was always in the background because my grandma's a teacher, my aunt's a teacher, my uncle's a teacher. A lot of people are teachers. And then in the news station, I didn't really feel like it was my calling. And so then I just jumped right into the schools and took some more courses, and that's where I am now.
Cool. Pop, introduce yourself.
I am Andrea Popwell, the very proud principal of St. Lucie West Centennial High School, now going on year 10. I started in education in St. Lucie County in 2000 at Port St. Lucie High School. I spent 6 years there in various roles. I started at St. Lucie West Centennial High School at 2006, served as assistant principal for 8 years, and again in my 10th year as principal.
You talked about those people in the background that educators in your family. How did they influence you to come home to education?
Well, I think the biggest one was my grandmother because she was a Spanish teacher in Puerto Rico, and she always made me read these books, and she made me love the literature of what you study, and I think that's why I became a Spanish teacher, was because of her and her guidance through the process, and yeah, she's definitely a big one.
So you mentioned love, so I'm going to piggyback off that.
Okay.
When do you think you actually fell in love with teaching?
I think I fell in love with teaching when I was doing my observation, when I was taking some courses, and I saw the teacher with his students, and it was a middle school, and just seeing that relationship between him and them, and how they truly loved him and he truly loved them, and I was just like, man, this is for me, and I still get chills when I think about what I experienced that day.
To receive this honor, you've got to know your craft. You got to be good. What do you think makes you a good teacher?
Everything. No, I'm just kidding. To be honest, I think is you have to really like love these kids. You have to kind of put it in your brain that I look at them like they're my own kids, and you have to get down to their level. You have to listen. You have to make time. I know you were swamped with grading and this and that, but as hard as it is, you have to make time to make those small connections and to really have them feel comfortable. And I think because they feel comfortable in my room, the learning just flows.
So if I was to come to your room and say, "¿Qué pasa?" what would my answer be?
Nada.
That's all I know. That's all I know. Pop Will, speaking of visiting his classroom, I come over to St. Lucie West Centennial tomorrow, and of course you're walking me by, and somehow we end up in your Teacher of the Year's classroom. Tell me what it's going to be like. What am I going to see?
It's going to be very fun and exciting. Mr. Martorell has created a great environment in his classroom. Kids love to be there. He is the founding teacher of our ELD program. I think we're in year 2, and Mr. Martorell was very gracious in taking on that new role, and it just speaks to the person that he is. Like, kids have fun. He actually invited me into his classroom the first week of school with the ELD kids for them to introduce themselves to me in their native language. He has a lot of fun, and his response a little earlier and everything, that's just him. He's just always funny and engaging, and you can't be around him without laughing and having a good time. So
describe him using 3 adjectives for me.
Oh goodness, that's very difficult. He is inviting, he's fun, he is dedicated, and I know that's 3. But he's just all those things that encompass a teacher that really wants to relate to students on a personal level, as he stated.
So, Mr. Martorell, what do you think at this time has been your greatest professional accomplishment?
That's a hard one. I have so many, but I think the biggest one would be, it's like 2, because I was teaching in Kansas City as well, and a few years ago I got in contact with a former student of mine, and he is actually a grown and adult, and he's he said that because of me and because of my Spanish and everything, and he fell in love with the language, he's actually now working for the UN as an interpreter for the Spanish-speaking people. And I was just like blown away. And then like 2 years ago, another student of mine, she went on a mission trip to Costa Rica, and she came back all excited. She's like, oh, because everything I learned in your class, I was able to be like the trip translator. And those moments just really, really hit home.
What do you think is one of the biggest or most pressing issues for education?
I think for high school, at least, I don't know, it's gotta be, I know it's cliche, but I really do think it's technology, because a lot of them, they're losing the how to be social. And a lot of them are they're struggling how to think for themselves. And so that's why in my classroom, I'd use as little technology as possible. It's all hands-on, because I want them to think for themselves. So I'm teaching them how to think for themselves. Like, why did you choose that? Explain why you did that. And really helping them just become better people in terms of communication.
Ms. Potwell, what makes Mr. Martorell the perfect candidate for this honor?
Because to me, he embodies everything that St. Lucie West Centennial High School is. Like, I pride myself on the culture that I've created at Centennial. People often walk on campus and say it feels different here. It feels like a family. It feels inviting. And that's everything that Mr. Martorell is. He goes out of his way to make students feel welcome. He's in charge of, several clubs on campus. He takes the initiative to do things and make the adults feel welcome as well. And I think that's important, not just to make that intellectual connection, but to make the human connection. And he's very good at both.
So I'm the educational genie, and I'm passing out wishes to all the teachers of the year. You get 3, but one of them has to be a wish for our profession, for education. What's your education wish?
My education wish is that teachers continue to love what they do. I wish teachers would all take a moment and just remember why they started teaching to begin with, just to never lose that. I know it's hard because many of them leave the profession, but that would be my wish, for them to continually think about why they became teachers in the first place.
So let's have some fun. We're going to flip from the professional over to the personal side so we can get to know just a little bit more about who you really are.
Okay.
I'll throw up some favorites and you give me the response. Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite restaurant?
Longhorn.
Steak, Longhorn, okay. Favorite movie?
Dead Poet Society.
Oh. Favorite sports team?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's your team. Maybe not mine, but it's yours. Okay. Favorite song?
The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
Favorite quote?
The quote was from a professor back in college. He would always say, humility before honor.
So we ask you to bring along a prop that kind of describes you as a teacher and your work. Share with us.
Okay, so my prop that I got was a gift from my aunt to me, and she is it's trivia cards. Because she said, just because you teach Spanish doesn't mean that you can't help your students become well-rounded. So whenever we have free time, we play little games, and so it helps them learn other things about culture and the world other than just my content. And
cool.
So that's always been a staple in my classroom.
So Ms. Potwell, is there anything else you want to share with us about your wonderful Teacher of the Year?
I just love having Mr. Martorell on campus. He spearheaded our Hispanic Heritage Month, and we have a dance now that we've done for 2 years in a row, and he's taught me how to dance, and it's been really, really fun and exciting. He's just a great person to have on campus, a great asset to our Eagle family, and I'm very honored to have him represent us as the Teacher of the Year.
Final question, Mr. Martorell. You're the educational ambassador for St. Lucie West Centennial High School. You'll often be called upon to speak to parents, to students, community members. What's your message?
My message is, like I said before, don't forget why you became a teacher. Focus on the kids. Try to love all the kids, because when they feel that love, teaching will be so much easier.
Thank you both for joining us as we celebrate the wonderful Teachers of the Year here in St. Lucie Public Schools, and congratulations on your selection as a Teacher of the Year. Go Eagles!
Go Eagles!
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Bobby Ingram Jr., the Director of Bands of Treasure Coast High School. Music is the universal language, so it contributes to St. Lucie Public Schools because that is some kids' only outlet. Music is a lot of these kids family. I don't teach a class, I teach life. We learn community in this art. We learn love in this art. We learn the value of family in this art. We learn spirit, unity, discipline, attitude in this art. So that's why it's important. The kids come to school, they come from different environments, so when they come here, they need a place that's structured, a place that is energetic, a place where they can be themselves. So it's super important for me to show up to make sure that they have that atmosphere and they have that place where they can just genuinely be themselves. Sometimes the hardship of home bears the kids down, so it's just really just keeping them encouraged to keep going. My favorite part of the day, honestly, is seeing the kids. Seeing the kids and working with the kids and getting into a piece of music and mastering just a section of music and putting it all together. But even beyond all that is getting to know each and every individual that I'm able to work with. I am Bobby Ingram Jr., and I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
Please help us welcome to the show at this time the awesome Miss Samantha Lean, who's the Teacher of the Year over at Southern Oaks Middle School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
My very dear friend Henry Santabria is the proud principal there, and he's joining us as well. Mr. Santabria, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have this opportunity to introduce our Teacher of the Year candidates to our viewing public. With that said, introduce yourself, please, Ms. Lean.
I have been a teacher at Southern Oaks for just a little over a year. This is my second year teaching there. I have been in education for about 13 years. I have a master's degree in education from Southern Oaks University, or Southern Oaks, Southern New Hampshire University, and a BA in American History and Literature from Albright College of Pennsylvania.
Cool, cool. Welcome, welcome. Mr. Santabria, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Well, I am the proud principal of Southern Oaks Middle School. This is my first year there. Prior to that, I was at Lincoln Park Academy as the proud principal there for 9 years. So this is my 10th year as principal. When I first came into the district about 18 and a half years ago, I started as a substitute and worked my way up as to a teacher at Lincoln Park Academy. I taught English for several years, became the IB coordinator there. Then I became an assistant principal and was then given the opportunity to hone in my skills by going to Treasure Coast High School. At Treasure Coast, I was an assistant principal there for several years before being appointed as principal of Lincoln Park Academy.
Awesome, awesome. Let's jump right in. How does it feel to know that you have been selected by your peers to represent them as Teacher of the Year over at Southern Oaks?
It is such an honor. I have gone through a lot in my life, and this one, you know what, I've been working towards it, but I was still shocked. It's such an honor.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
Actually, I'm going to age myself here. My mom used to work in the media center at a district in Philadelphia, and she would take me to school with her to work, and I would hang out in the kindergarten classroom. And I sharpened the kids' pencils. And so I thought that you could have a job as a pencil sharpener. And so I told my mom, I want to be a pencil sharpener when I grow up. And now I am sharpening kids' minds. So it is a full circle.
Awesome, awesome. So because you had that early experience, do you think there's someone that influenced your decision to be an educator or how you work with children every day?
My 6th grade world history teacher, he had a nickname for every student. Everything was, he had sarcophagi in his classroom. We did hands-on learning, which was different in the 90s. It looked different. We didn't have classrooms that we could use computers all the time. And he really was, and is. I actually ran into him over Thanksgiving at home in Pennsylvania, and he knew me right off. And I said, this is the greatest. I fangirled him. I gave him a big hug, and he really was just such an inspiration for me.
What do you think makes you a good teacher?
I love learning. I would be a perpetual learner if I could afford it. And I think for me, that shows in how I present that content to my students. I'm always trying to find a fun way to do what could be mundane. For example, we talked about the 5 caste system sections in India yesterday, and I had my students stand up, and each table became a caste, and they had to talk about what that caste did, how that caste could achieve nirvana, and they really seem to have a takeaway from that. And for me, that's the big thing, having a takeaway.
So, Mr. Santabria, share with me what a day is like in Ms. Lean's class.
Well, no day is the same, basically. I mean, you walk into her classroom, it could be the lights are down, dim, and she could be playing some soft music while the students are engaged in, say, a writing activity, and then all of a sudden, the lights come up and they're talking. And they're talking to one another, you know, in academic language. Or they could be up and about, as she shared, actually moving around. And it could be, or it could look like it's organized chaos, you know. But no day is the same in her class.
Give me 3 descriptors of Miss Lane, please.
The first one that comes to mind is innovative. She's always looking for new ways and new strategies to bring into the classroom, a different way of doing things. Then I'd have to say creative. You know, she's very artistic, has the kids working on different types of things in the classroom. It's not all about sit and get, but maybe showing what they've learned in an artsy way. And then dedicated. I think that her dedication, not only to the students, but to the whole Southern Oaks learning community, speaks volumes for what she does.
Ms. Lane, what is your proudest professional achievement?
You know, because I don't live in New Hampshire anymore, I don't really see my students from there. But the students at Southern Oaks, I had last year, they're in 6th, 7th grade now, and I had one student in particular, we just were oil and vinegar, we could not get along. And now he sees me, and every day it's a, hey, Miss Lean, how are you? Hi, Miss Lean. Sometimes I get like a side hug. And I think when you reach the kids that are toughest and they come back and they are respectful to you and they know that you gave them an education worth having, that's the proudest moment.
What do you see as one of the most pressing issues in education?
Poverty/food insecurity. We have students that come to school and they sometimes don't have breakfast and they get there late, and so they can't have breakfast, or they get there too early and then they're sitting there waiting hungry. So by the time I see them, they're like in that hangry stage, right? They want something to eat and they want it to eat now, and they're not going to do their work until they get it. And we cannot ask them to have higher order thinking without having a brain that is full of energy. So for me, I instituted a care cart in my classroom. I have healthy snacks, hygiene products, things that students need and are not able to get in their homes. And I think that by having that there, I'm able to follow like my own personal thought process of Maslow before Bloom. We have to have their basic needs met before we can ask them to do higher order thinking.
Cool. Mrs. Santabria, what makes Ms. Lean the perfect candidate for this honor?
Well, not only do I believe that she's the perfect candidate, but I think most importantly, her peers, her colleagues. She was chosen by her colleagues to represent Southern Oaks Middle School as the Teacher of the Year. And she has shown that by way of being the example, the 21st century teacher that is passionate and dedicated. And quite honestly, she's a lifelong learner. That's what she is. She wants to learn, and every day she's learning more, and she wants to share. She's not that type of person that keeps it to herself.
Let's have some fun. We're going to flip the script from the professional over to the personal, learn a little bit more about you. I'm going to play a game of favorites with you, and you give me the response. Favorite food?
Chicken vindaloo.
That's a new one for me.
Spicy.
Spicy. No spice for me. Favorite restaurant?
India Palace in New Hampshire.
Okay, I guess I'm going to have to go visit? Okay, gotcha. Favorite movie?
Well, it's a movie. It's Hamilton. I haven't been to New York, so the movie in Disney.
We need to go to Broadway then. One of my favorite places. Favorite sports team?
The Eagles.
Favorite song?
Oh, there's so many. The whole Hamilton soundtrack, I listen to it on repeat.
Really?
Yes.
Really? Favorite quote?
If you want to be somebody and you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
Pay attention. From where?
Sister Act 2.
Sister Act 2, yes, one of my favorites. Okay, so we ask you to bring along a prop that kind of sums you up, describes you as a teacher. Share with us your prop.
It is a red pen. Doesn't have to be that brand. When I was in elementary school, my teacher would grade my spelling tests with fix in red pen all over the paper. And I would go home devastated because I didn't really know how to fix it. I thought I spelled it right, that's why I spelled it that way. I don't use red pens in my classroom. I had to search for one. It was buried in my closet. I don't grade in red pen. My whole thought is that I want you to master the content and understand the standard. And if that means that we have to find a variety of testing options, that's what we're going to do.
So, Mrs. Santabria, is there anything else you want to share with us about your wonderful Teacher of the Year?
The only thing that I could say is that we picked a winner. And we are excited about her representing Southern Oaks as our Teacher of the Year. And regardless of what the outcome may be, she's still a winner.
Awesome, awesome. Final question for you. You're the representative for Southern Oaks. You're their voice. What's your message?
I hope that the community will remember how they felt during the first few months of COVID lockdown, when teachers could do no wrong. Because now I think that the community forgets that teachers are there every day, pushing for your students to learn and be achievers, and we are not getting the respect that we were getting during COVID when we were teaching virtually.
Awesome. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you both, and congratulations on your selections as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you.
All righty.
Hello, my name is Edward Morales. I'm the manager for the Publications Department for the St. Lucie Public Schools. Welcome to the print shop. One of the most important part of my job is to get things on time for the schools. Our objective is to get everything to the schools in less than 3 days. So some of the challenges we have here in the print shop is to get good pricing for raw paper, cover paper. The supply chain is a little bit difficult nowadays, but we're working on it. We have a great team. We have a team of 8, 9, including me. We have 3 printers, 3 binderies. We have a graphic designer. We have a team that is cohesive. They work together. They know what to do. They're professionals. They're proactive. They accept challenges, and they're determined to get the work to the schools. My favorite part of the day is coming in, say hello to the team, seeing that everybody is here with a happy face and ready to go. Yo soy Edward Morales y yo soy St. Lucie Public Schools.
It's our pleasure to welcome to our show at this time the wonderful Miss Mickey Watson, the fantastic Teacher of the Year at Mariposa Elementary. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have both of you because she's brought along with her our very good friend, the dynamic principal there, proud principal, Brooke Wigington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
We're excited to be able to celebrate teachers and all that we do to influence and make our communities better. So with that, I'm going to ask that you please briefly introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right, thank you. My name's Mickey Watson. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Mariposa Elementary. That's my sixth year, I guess, at Mariposa, and my 11th year teaching in St. Lucie County. I graduated back in 2013 from Florida Atlantic University as an education major.
Awesome. Welcome to the show. Ms. Wigington?
Hi, yes, I'm in my 2nd year as principal at Mariposa, amazing school, great staff. And previously I was a principal at Port St. Lucie High School and at Ocam at K-8. I've been with the county now for 18 years.
So, Ms. Watson, how does it feel and what do you make of being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Mariposa?
I think my first question was, are you kidding? Like me? Like how? Why? And I was really, really honored that my fellow teachers and colleagues and staff had really taken a ballot and picked me out of all of our amazing educators. I look around the halls every day and they're phenomenal. So for them to have thought, not only are we at a great school, but that I was their choice to represent them, it blew me out of the water.
You mentioned that you were an education major. So have you always known that you wanted to be an educator?
I was in 5th grade when I knew I was going to grow up and be a teacher. I had the most amazing 5th grade teacher. She taught me about being an educator inside the classroom and being a great human being outside of the classroom. There was a lot going on in my life as a 5th grader, and I see it happening in my 4th graders' lives. And she just swooped in, and she was a savior. She saved me academically, personally, and she was a family that I didn't even know I needed at the time.
So share with us who influenced you to be an educator.
Oh, so for sure it was that 5th grade teacher, Miss Beverly Sinople. She wore the traditional teacher sweaters, sat on her stool, read us those novels, had a collection of teddy bears. And she, to this day, when we talk on the phone and we meet up for lunches, she is just the one that has been there by my side since 5th grade.
Awesome, awesome. So, during the course of your career, there was a day when you was like, yeah, this is it. When did you first fall in love with teaching?
I think that my first day that I just knew that teaching was my jam, I was teaching 1st grade, and there was a collection of students just waiting by the door, waiting to come in, and they just knew they had something fun to do today. And I really knew that I had taken just boring schoolwork and made it engaging for them, and they were so excited to be there. And I just knew if I could keep exciting our students about it, that the rest would be easy.
Ms. Wigington, share with us what a day is like in Ms. Watson's room.
It's never the same thing each day. She's extremely creative when it comes to like designing her lessons for her students. She's very outgoing. And the one thing that's always good is despite whatever the content is, and every kid loves what's being taught in the room, she really focuses on engaging them and really making sure that they're making those progress and milestones that they need to make.
Share with us 3 adjectives that's going to describe the awesome, wonderful, magnificent. Yeah, you can't use mine.
I know.
Ms. Mickey Watson.
All right, so I already hit on one of them, creative. She can take some difficult curriculum to teach and find a really creative or innovating way to approach it. And by doing so, it just really engages her students, and that gets the best from them, which is awesome. Additionally, compassionate. She explained her own personal stories as to why she got into teaching, and she definitely lives that. She really goes out to get to know her kids and build those strong, positive relationships. So even sometimes the most difficult student for another teacher will be amazing in her room. And lastly, her dedication, not just to just her students in teaching, but to helping her peers, supporting us as a school. I mean, she goes above and beyond outside of our classroom, and additionally also works with our students in our Boys and Girls program.
Awesome, awesome. So, as a teacher, you have a lot going on. You've experienced a lot. What do you think is one of the most pressing issues in education today?
I think our most pressing issue is forming the relationships and communicating with our parents. It's not a divided system like it maybe used to be back when I was in school, where school did schoolwork, home did homework, and that was it. And I really think the more we bring our families together and into our schools, we are seeing the biggest bang for our buck. And that's our issue, is making sure that parents know we're a team. We have to work together. We're looking out for the best of our students. It's their babies, but they're also our babies too. And we really have to just kind of form that alliance between our families and our teachers at school and realize that we're a team working towards one goal.
So what makes you a good teacher?
I think being understanding and really going above and beyond sometimes to make sure that those relationships and those families are not left in the parking lot. They come into the classrooms, we meet on weekends, we meet after school. I always tell them, once a Watson baby, always a Watson baby. And I get seniors still calling me and inviting me to graduations and college wrestling matches. And I just think that really knowing that I'm always there for them, whether they're in my homeroom or 10 years down the road, that has really influenced me to be a good teacher.
Ms. Wigington, what makes Mrs. Watson the perfect choice for Teacher of the Year?
When I think about it, not only does she work, like I said, she really is strong at working with our students and really getting them to be the best they can be and to advance in their curriculum. But she also is really strong when it comes to building those relationships with parents, looking outside of just that classroom and building a community within her hallway within 4th grade, which she's just moved up to 4th grade from 2nd grade. But it's just her sense of pride and accomplishments as she moves forward throughout the day, and her energy. Nothing ever gets her down. She's always positive and is always looking for that way to solve the problem.
Ms. Watson, what's your biggest professional accomplishment?
I think I've been thinking about this as far as accomplishments in my career, as I'm a third of the way through it. And my biggest accomplishment can't be just one, because it's a student finally learning how to read a chapter book on their own. It's a student finally coming to school and not crying when mom shuts the door. It's a new teacher that decided they're going to come back the following year because they felt supported and they feel like they're a better person and a better teacher and better equipped to handle it. So I can't say there's just one great accomplishment, because every time a colleague, a staff member, another teacher and a student or even a parent reaches a goal and solves a problem and I was a part of it, I have made another accomplishment.
Awesome, awesome. We've talked a lot about the professional side. We're going to flip the script. Play a game of favorites, okay?
All right,
I'll throw out
favorites.
the favorite, you give me the response. Favorite food?
Favorite food, ice cream, 100%. That or Bosco sticks. The kids know the fourth Friday of every month is Bosco sticks,
Cool.
and that's mine.
I'm coming by the fourth Friday. Okay. Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant, I'd have to say Twisty Treat. It's not really a restaurant, but they serve ice cream.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And that's your favorite food?
It's my favorite.
Gotcha. Favorite movie?
My favorite movie would be The Princess Bride.
Favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team, the New York Yankees. My dad was a Yankee for 22 years, so I was raised there. I have to represent.
Okay, rap. Favorite song?
My favorite song would be Wagon Wheel. It was my daughter's favorite, and it was the only one that made her stop crying when she was a baby.
Gotcha. That's your reason. You understand your why.
That's it.
Okay. And favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success.
Do you have a favorite color?
I do have a favorite color. I think it's purple, but the kids tell me it's teal.
Yeah, well.
But I say purple.
Okay. We'll go with your purple. We ask you to bring along a prop that kind of describes you and your work as a teacher. Share with us your prop.
All right, so this is my prop. It's got a lot of levels. First, it was given to me by one of my first families who took a chance on a new teacher who had no idea what they were doing. And not only were they now students in my class, but we're family for life. And he's in high school now, and he's still my #1 guy. Also, it's a rocket. I started off at Palm Point, and without everything that they taught me and I learned and the opportunities they gave me, I don't think I would be the educator I am today. And it was also the very first time an adult in my career really stood by me and believed in me when I didn't really believe in myself.
Cool. So, Ms. Wigington, is there anything else that you want to share with us about the wonderful Mickey Watson?
You know, I shared a lot about her, but one of the things I think we saw today is her passion for being an educator. You know, she identified those little moments and those milestones as in like not one big event. And I feel like she is a phenomenal teacher because that's what she prizes. You know, she looks at how she can attempt to make every person's day a good day. And that's just a quality you don't see in everybody.
Final question for you. You are automatically the representative, the voice for Mariposa as their Teacher of the Year. You have an opportunity to speak to many people from many backgrounds, walks of life. What's your message?
My message to anybody from Mariposa or being an educator is that you do make a difference. The days that you think you aren't, they are watching you. One thing about the rock, I've had one rock on my desk. I now have 387 rocks in my classroom because the kids are watching, people are watching, and just knowing that when you think you're not doing it, you are doing it, and people are watching you do it, and they're there to pick you up if you think you're falling.
They're watching and you're making a difference. Thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and congratulations on being selected Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much.
My name is Michael Brown, and welcome to St. Lucie Transportation. We have 325 routes that make up 12,471 bus stops per day. On average, we transport 23,000 students each and every day. We have 25 mechanics responsible for 397 buses in our fleet, and they go in for a 30-point state-required inspection every 28 days. I feel that as a bus driver, my position is a very intricate one in the St. Lucie school system. Without us transporting the majority of the school's populations, our leaders of tomorrow wouldn't have an easy access to their education. I would say the most important aspect of my job is delivering my children to and from school in a safe, timely manner. I want to be a role model for my kids as well. Some of the challenges of my position, being able to drive while maintaining control of my students. I often have upward to 50 to 60 kids, you know, at any given time between routes. I think the most rewarding part is just watching my children grow, you know, into adults. I watch them flourish in life and just knowing that I was a part of it. I'm Michael Brown, and I am St. Lucie Public School.
Please Please join us in welcoming to our show at this time the wonderful Whitney Withrow, who's the fantastic Teacher of the Year for Northport K-8 School. Welcome.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her the fantastic, proud principal there, Mr. Glenn Rustay. Rustay, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much for having us.
Oh, we're excited to have both of you here. It gives us an opportunity to introduce some of the fantastic teachers in St. Lucie Public Schools to our viewers. Introduce yourself.
My name is Whitney Withrow. I was born and raised here on the Treasure Coast, specifically Vero Beach. I graduated high school from Sebastian River. Straight out of high school, I went into the Marine Corps. I was active duty for 10 years. And when I got out, I worked for California State University in their University Advancement Department. And then I got my MBA from Pepperdine University with a major in marketing. And I continued using my public affairs background. When I moved here in Florida, I was at the City of Port St. Lucie. I worked in the communications department for the city manager and the other departments within the city. From there, I went to my father-in-law's business as a marketing director, and now I'm here at Northport K-8 for the last 4 years.
Awesome. Rustay, introduce yourself for me, please.
My name is Glenn Rustay. This is my 15th year at Northport, my 32nd year in the district. I previously was the principal at Port St. Lucie Elementary, and I worked for 10 years at Garden City Elementary.
Cool. So, tell me, how does it feel to know that you have been selected by your peers to represent them as the Teacher of the Year?
Oh, I am very honored, very honored. I mean, something that I didn't think would ever happen, so happy about it.
So you came into teaching after your stint in the military, and once a Marine, always a Marine. Right. I understand, but why do you think you chose education as a career?
Actually, that's a great question. When I was in school growing up, I did mention to my mom that I wanted to be a teacher, and she was a nurse and my dad was a business owner. And before she became a nurse, she was a Head Start teacher, and she was just absolutely not. Like, you're never gonna make enough money. So we were always very money-driven family. And so I just didn't do it. And I went into the military because I didn't know what I wanted to be. And then as soon as I got into boot camp, I would say like day 2, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go to school. So I got my degree, still avoiding education based on what my mom said. And then a door opened up for me after an event, unfortunately. But I did give somebody a call and I said, hey, you know, this is my opportunity for me to go after a lifelong dream or desire, you know, can you help me out? And I was like, I want to be a high school math teacher. And she was like, how about elementary? And here I am.
High school, how about elementary?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part of teaching every day?
Oh man, you know, a lot of teachers would say, and I mean, I agree with them, that aha moment when they like learn something. But I really think that if you use like a whole productive struggle method, or where they're kind of like self-guiding their own learning, and then they get the aha, that aha is way more meaningful. And I do that a lot in my classroom. So it's meaningful for them, but it's also more meaningful for me because I'm giving them the freedom to learn the way that they want to learn, and it's really exciting to see them like achieve.
So Mr. Rustay, I'm visiting your campus. You're showing me around the wonderful Northport K-8. We end up in Ms. Witherow's room. Tell me what I'm going to witness.
Well, that's a great question and easily answered, because you are going to go into a wonderful experience of education. You walk into her classroom to the right, she has her student centers. She has bought the seats for them with cushions, and she has the lighting that can be dimmed or brighter all the way through the whole classroom. And you see students that are doing and learning and active and up and talking and you know, learning, and whether it's through the discussion with each other or doing an activity. I had the chance to observe right before Christmas, and this is the week before Christmas, and the kids are just, you know, they're learning about electricity. They're making their own lights for the building that they've already created. And they went ahead and built everything, and then they put all the lighting onto and then they found out about open and closed circuits, And then they had to actually demonstrate that. And she's like, okay, what happens if? Or what about this? And the kids were asking each other, well, I wonder if this will work. And then is this subject conductive, or what? And they were trying, and that's just par for the course. It was, you go in there and you are instantly in a different dimension almost, where the kids are really excited and really on task and really want to be learning with her.
So share with me 3 adjectives that will describe her.
Well, the first one I would say would be impactful. When she decides to do something, she's going to have an impact on it, a positive impact and with her students learning, whether it's in the media center, whether it's middle school math, she's or 5th grade. She's taught a lot for us in her 4 years with us, and so. But she's going to have an impact on students' lives, impact on Northport and our parents and our students, and this faculty and staff as well. The second one I would say would be tenacious. She is going to get it done. It's going to be done at a high level. When I was thinking about those 3 adjectives, I was like, well, smart, fantastic, wonderful, all the normal ones. But I was like, I really want, and when you think about when she's going to get it done, it's just going to get it done at a high level. And an amazing time, too. It's amazing how fast she can pull something together. This year, she pulled together our fall festival. And, it seems like it's done, because it's just done. And it's amazing how it's done. But she's going to be tenacious about getting things first of all, to happen for our kids, to happen for our campus, and then make sure that it's at a high level. And the last thing, when you think about all those different adjectives in the 2 that I just shared, it all comes together, and whether it's in her classroom, whether it's at Northport, in the media center, wherever she has, whatever she touches, it's magical. And it really comes together in a way that is just, it's almost undescribable in terms of what happens in her classroom, what happens in the media center, or wherever she puts her magical powers to.
What do you think has been your greatest impact?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard. I think really, honestly, just working with the students and building relationships. I can teach math, I can teach science, whatever, that they want to learn, but building those student relationships is so meaningful to me, because once you get their trust and you gain, what they see you like, I can trust her and I can ask her questions, and you can now teach them more than just English and math and science. You can teach them how to graduate school, like how to apply for jobs, or just how to be a good human, and kindness. And they trust you that you're going to give them the right information and lead them in the right direction.
So let's have some fun. Let's play some games.
Okay.
A speed round, okay?
Okay.
I'll throw out some favorites and you give me the response.
Okay.
Favorite food?
French fries.
Favorite restaurant?
There's a place called the Ocean Grill in Vero Beach that I really enjoy.
Great place, great place. Yes.
Love it.
Favorite movie?
I'm going to split it between 2, but Labyrinth and Alice in Wonderland. I know that's weird. I kind of grew up on them, but do I have to choose one?
No.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
If I have to choose one.
No.
Okay.
That's 3.
Yeah. She snuck 3 in on me.
Lots.
Favorite sports team?
I would say Chicago teams. I live there, and they are loyal. They are so loyal. Also, the NPK 8 Navigators. They're good too.
Okay, you're not a fan.
I know.
Favorite song?
We Didn't Start the Fire. Both versions.
Okay. Favorite quote?
Comfort is the enemy of progress.
Favorite color?
Burgundy.
Cool. So you brought along a prop. Share with us your prop.
I did. This is my prop here. It's actually a bracelet with the planets on it. It was given to me by a student who I thought never listened to me, and he quickly learned that I love everything space. And when I received this gift from him, I knew it was meaningful because he does pay attention, and I love it a lot. So,
Mr. Russell, is there anything else that you want to share with us about Ms. Witherow?
She's just an incredible teacher. She mentioned relationships. The students, whether, like I said, whatever the role she's playing, just really respond to her. She builds and does truly care about them and their success, but also cares about them and in so many different ways, and academically, behaviorally, and she just does above and beyond to make sure that her students get what they need. And then she does the same thing for Northport. And she's like, well, we don't have this fall festival, and it happens. We don't have this, we weren't live streaming our honor rolls and other things. She said, well, let's do it. And then she brings out this neat little gadget, is me both, and Matt, camera, and you know me and gadgets. And so I was like, oh, we need a couple of these. And so, but she's just always looking for the next thing that will be to help her kids be successful and help us be successful. And she's just really a magical teacher.
Final question for you. You're the ambassador, the voice for education at Northport. What's your message?
I would say that my message would center around establishing and continuing to build an environment that fosters lifelong learning, despite circumstances and background for students, like self-advocate for students.
Cool. Congratulations on your selection, and thank you both for joining us as we share fantastic teachers here in St. Lucie Public Schools with all of our viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you for being.
My name is Anna Babcock. I am a teacher at Fairlawn Elementary, teaching K-5 gifted and high achieving, and this is my 16th year in St. Lucie Public Schools. I believe the most important aspect of my job is having the privilege to develop that next upcoming generation of students to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Elementary is the foundation. Our students, sometimes this is their first experience in school. They are with us for several years compared to middle and high school. So it's the opportunity of planting that seed for the love of learning and just making them passionate about learning. I try to keep our students fully engaged, like giving them an environment that they take ownership in their learning. My favorite part of the day is when I get to teach math. I just get really excited about it. I love numbers. The most rewarding part of my job is observing my students when they have that moment of feeling successful. It's that moment where you can see it in their face. They light up, they're smiling ear to ear, and you just know in that moment they're feeling so good about themselves and proud of the accomplishment. I am Anna Babcock. I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
Oh, I'm excited to welcome to our show at this time Allie Mesaw, who's the wonderful Teacher of the Year over at Windmill Point Elementary. Allie, welcome.
Thank you so much.
She's brought along our awesome friend, the proud principal there, Bree Lamb. Miss Lamb, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
It is a pleasure to have this opportunity to talk to you because I get to be the person to get you to introduce yourself to many of our viewers. So please do that at this time.
Hello, my name is Allie Mesaw. I am a product actually of Martin County Schools all the way through graduation, and I went to IRSC and Florida Atlantic University, FAU, with my bachelor's in elementary education.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. We're so glad that you didn't go to Martin County, but that you came to St. Lucie County. Okay, I'll stop. I'll behave.
Yes, Dr. Perry, you know I had to steal. I'm
Yes,
so sorry.
yes, I'm
County.
proud of you.
Best
Miss
decision.
Miss Lamb, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, it's nice to see you again, Dr. Perry. My name is Bree Lamb, and I'm the proud principal at Windmill Point Elementary. I am proud to say that I am a Wildcat, and I call that my home now this is my 6th year there as principal.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up right here in St. Lucie County. My mom is a retired educator of St. Lucie County. Yes, she was. She retired from Centennial. She's worked at several schools throughout the district. And so I always knew I wanted to be in education, and here I am,
Great.
the proud principal.
So, Miss Mesaw, tell me, how does it feel to know that your peers chose you to represent them as their Teacher of the Year?
That in itself is the best feeling to know that I'm representing our school and that that people look up to me in that way, that I can serve as a role model. It's amazing.
So have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
Actually, no. I was always just a really good student. I enjoyed school. I got good grades. It was pretty easy for me going through school, and when I was a senior, I was dual enrolled, and I just kept taking academic courses. And as we got closer to graduation, my mom was asking me, what are you going to, what's your major? And I'm like, I don't really know. And I just so happened to land a job at a preschool, and as soon as I started working, it just fell into place. I couldn't think of anything else I would have wanted to do.
So what do you think it is that makes you a good teacher?
I think what makes me a good teacher is just having a positive attitude to start. That's the start of your day and your students' day. But also just being flexible, understanding that there's challenges in every day and amazing, seamless moments in every day. Having the relationships with the students, that brings it home for me.
So tell me, what do you love most about teaching?
There's so many different aspects to the love of teaching. I would go back to the relationship with the students. I think that really can set the mode. It sets the tone in your classroom. It makes the difference in your lessons and their takeaways from it as well.
Cool. So Ms. Lamb, I'm on campus visiting, and I say, oh, take me to see some of your fantastic teachers' work. Of course, by happenstance, you really set it up. We end up in Mrs. Mesaw's class. What am I going to see?
Well, as soon as you open her classroom door and as soon as you walk in, you're going to feel a warm, academic, rich, collaborative environment. I'm going to tell you, the last time I was in her classroom, she's giggling because she knows the story I'm going to tell. She was actually teaching, it was an ELA standard, and she was really teaching the students to chunk and process and to summarize throughout the story. So as they're doing this, they're reading the text, and she's having them annotate after chunks of the story. They would read the text, they would process, they would draw it, they would annotate. And so it was such a great lesson. And so she's walking around, she's monitoring, and she says to one of the students, well, annotating is my favorite. And the students all just giggle and loved it. And they were so engaged in the lesson, in the text, and in that process of visualizing and summarizing. She's an amazing teacher who holds students accountable, but I think she creates relationships to really foster a fun environment.
So describe her for me using 3 adjectives, please.
Oh my goodness, if I had to use, it doesn't surprise me that she said I was a really good student, because I would say she's a lifelong learner. She absolutely takes every situation that she can learn from, soaks it in, learns as much as she can, soaks in all those opportunities, and then puts them into play. So she's learning and practicing all the time. The second thing I would say is she's very reflective. Miss Mesaw is always thinking of how could I have done that differently, how I could do that better. And I would have to say the third thing, she's very attention to detail oriented. You know, I have to share with you, Miss Mesaw is our chairperson for our PBIS team. This is such a bragging moment. I have to brag about this for her. She is our chairperson, and last year, I believe only 9 schools in our district received PBIS recognition, and only 2 schools were classified as gold schools in our entire district. We were one of the 2 gold schools in our district, and that was under Miss Mesaw's leadership.
So Ms. Mesaw, tell me, what do you see as a pressing issue for education today?
I think that being in the classroom, something that I've noticed has been increasing is a lot of difference with the parent involvement with the student, in the sense of we don't know where a lot of students are going at the end of the day. So making sure that we are providing them with the most that we can when they're with us for their 6 hours, because that's the foundation of their success. And so I think that it would be more parent involvement with the students rather not parent involvement with school.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I do. So what makes Ms. Misal the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
What makes Ms. Mesa the perfect candidate of the year is her kindness, her passion, her work ethic. You know, when I have a student in second grade, she's currently teaching second grade. She's taught third grade for us, but this year she's teaching second. When I have a student who's very challenging, and I don't want to say the student who creates a challenge for anybody. Ms. Misal is the teacher who said, hey, will come to me and say, hey, can I have so-and-so? I know they were a problem last year in first grade, but I want them because I think that I can help them. She's that teacher. She's the teacher who asks and wants to take on the challenge to do better. Not just do better for herself or for the kids, the 20 kids in her class, but to do better for our community. That's what makes an exceptional teacher. She sees the bigger picture, that she wants to support this child, who take in the students who need an extra person, a person who's going to give it their all and help them move on to third grade. But I'm going to tell you, once they leave her class, they're still coming back to see her. They're still they're coming back and forth, and they're coming back and forth. I often get our high schoolers from next door, and you know, kids who come back and they want to see Mrs. Misal and they want to visit her because she gives the extra.
Gotcha. So let's have some fun. We talked about the educational part. Talk about Ms. Misal. Favorite food?
My favorite food is subs. Subs. I love a good sub.
Okay.
Jersey Mike's.
Oh, okay.
Or sushi. It would be a toss-up, but I would pick
you can have the sushi. Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant would be either Jersey Mike's or Fujiyama, a hibachi or
Hibachi.
or something.
Okay, cool. Favorite movie?
My favorite movie. This one's a little embarrassing, but my favorite movie is Rock of Ages. No?
No problem. No, it's yours. It's cool.
It's a good one. It's just the music.
Yeah, good musical. Yes, yes. Favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team, it would be college football, LSU, or NFL football, the New Orleans Saints, and that's just by marriage.
It works.
Yeah,
it works.
I have to.
Yeah. Favorite song?
Oh my gosh, my favorite song. I don't know if I have a favorite song, but it would be any song from Rock of Ages.
Okay. What about your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, success is a journey, not a destination.
Favorite color?
Purple.
Okay, all right, all right. So we ask you to bring a prop along that kind of describes you and your day. Share with us your prop.
So this is my purple pen, and I've always used a purple pen. I've never graded in red pens, and so purple being my favorite color, purple pens. But then as I started teaching more years, it just kind of became something that my students noticed about me. It was in purple. I think it's a happy color, and so when I'm marking on a student's paper, I don't want them to feel like I'm giving them something negative, so it's nice when it's in purple and we can talk about it.
So those
in
of us
a happy color.
Those of us that graded in red should have been graded in purple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you would have smiled
Okay.
when you looked at your paper.
Thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure to speaking with you, and congratulations
Thank you so much.
on your selection as Teacher of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Bobby Ingram Jr., the Director of Bands of Treasure Coast High School. Music is the universal language, so it contributes to St. Lucie Public Schools because that is some kids' only outlets. Music is a lot of these kids' family. I don't teach a class, I teach life. We learn community in this art. We learn love in this art. We learn the value of family in this art. We learn spirit, unity, discipline, attitude in this art. So that's why it's important. The kids come to school, they come from different environments, so when they come here, they need a place that's structured, a place that is energetic, a place where they can be themselves. So it's super important for me to show up to make sure that they have that atmosphere and they have that place where they can just genuinely be themselves. Sometimes the hardship of home bears the kids down, so it's just really just keeping them encouraged to keep going. My favorite part of the day, honestly, is seeing the kids. Seeing the kids and working with the kids and getting into a piece of music and mastering just a section of music and putting it all together. But even beyond all that is getting to know each and every individual that I'm able to work with. I am Bobby Ingram Jr., and I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
Joining us from Performance-Based Preparatory Academy is the Teacher of the Year, Ms. Susan Manier. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Perry.
She's brought along our awesome friend, the principal there, the very proud principal there, Dr. Arthur Jameson. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you for having us, Doc.
Yeah, it is a pleasure to speak to both of you about the wonderful work and your selection as Teacher of the Year. But briefly introduce yourself to some of our viewers for me.
I'm Susan Manier. I was born in Fort Lauderdale and went to school down in Fort Lauderdale and then to school in Alabama and then Orlando. I taught in school in Broward County Schools for 5 years and then transitioned up here and taught 2 years part-time with performance-based and then 10 years full-time with performance-based.
Awesome. Dr. Jameson, introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
Hi, I'm Arthur Jameson, proud University of Central Florida graduate, taught in Orange County, Orlando for 12 years, and this is my 7th year being a principal and my 2nd time around here as principal at Performance-Based Prep.
So let's just jump right in. Tell me, Ms. Manier, how does it feel to know that you have been selected by your peers to represent them over at Performance-Based?
It feels great. I was really surprised and shocked and really happy to be the Teacher of the Year and to represent performance-based.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
Yes, because I went to school and got my master's in education, in special education, so it's something that I've always wanted to do.
When you think back about your decision to be an educator, do you think there's someone that influenced your decision to be an educator?
Yes, I do. I had a first grade teacher who was really awesome because I had trouble with writing letters, and she took the time to work with me after school to improve my handwriting and my eye-hand coordination. Her name was Mrs. Betty Edwards.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards.
Shout out.
So what's your favorite part of teaching?
I enjoy working with the students and seeing them every day and motivating them. And when they don't come to school and they show up at school, it really makes my day because some of our kids, you know, they don't come a lot. And when I see them and get them back on track with their education, it really makes my day.
So, Dr. Jameson, I visit Performance-Based real soon, and of course, just by happenstance, we end up in Ms. Manier's class. Share with me what a day is like and what I might see.
You know, Ms. Manier has a personality that's very attractive for the students. When you walk into the classroom, you would see groups of students sitting around her and her head on a swivel. You know, she's trying to engage this student, answering questions to another student, encouraging another student to get work, helping another student find answers on the internet. She's just a busybody, but we love that. The students gravitate towards her because of that, because you know, in our school, it's just showing that we care. We show the students that we care, we motivate them, encourage them, and they do well. It's those students that, you know, that don't receive that, and that's how they fall through the cracks. So when you walk into a classroom and you see Ms. Manier in there, she is the one that's really rocking and rolling, getting our students to work, and we love that.
Share with me 3 adjectives that might describe Ms. Manier.
Passionate, number 1. Very passionate in what she does. Very passionate in her certification of ESE. Many times she would go to ESE meetings and then come back and debrief me about the meeting. And she's very passionate about the changes of the laws and how they affect the students, and how we need to make whatever changes or adjustments to make sure that we're doing right about the students. Compassionate. She's very compassionate when it comes to working with our students. You know, we have an at-risk population at our school, and so being able to show some compassion because the students have been through, you know, certain things in their past, experiences that not a lot of students go through. And so showing them that you can overcome whatever issues you have, but it's showing passion, compassion, that, you know, we understand, but it's time to move forward, and we'll support you throughout your journey. And last but not least, selfless. She's very selfless in the sense that she's always helping students. I remember one situation very recently where we had the classical learning test on a Saturday. And she was very concerned about one young lady who was late for the test. And she was calling me, texting me, saying, hey, I'm working with her, I'm trying to get her there, and so forth. Very selfless. She gives her all, and the students love that, and we love that about her.
So, Ms. Manier, tell me, what do you think has been your proudest professional achievement?
Okay, so last year I had a student that I couldn't get a rapport with until 6 months into the year, and I kept trying and trying and trying, and Dr. Jameson would say, oh, your son, he calls them my children, your son's having a little problem today. And I said, I can't even get him to talk to me, and I'm talking to him, but he just isn't listening. He said, keep talking to him, keep having those conversations with him. And he was one of the most challenging students I think I've worked with. And finally, he came around and started working with me, started getting things done, and he made it to graduation. And I was just really proud of him after that, and proud of myself, because I just never encountered a student like that in all my years of teaching.
So tell me, what is it that you might say to a student to help ensure that they will be successful?
I think the first thing is to develop a rapport with our students, because some of our students are very closed off. They're not happy to be at our school sometimes because they have to leave their high schools. And if you just keep find something of a common interest you may have, something that to compliment them on the color of their shirt, and once you get that rapport with them, then I think they come along, and then they're easier to work with you. They'll work with you more easily, and come to school more often. I think that's a very important thing, is to get that rapport at the beginning.
So let's play a speed round. Okay. I'll throw out some favorites, and you respond to the favorite.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Oxtail and pigeon peas.
Oh, right up my alley. Yes. Favorite restaurant?
Jerk Boys, Vero Beach.
Favorite movie?
Stand and Deliver.
Great movie. Favorite sports team?
Miami Dolphins.
Fins up. Favorite song?
Lean on Me.
Oh, one of my favorites. Favorite inspirational quote?
Educate the heart before you educate the mind.
Favorite color?
Black.
You brought along a prop that's going to describe you. Share with us your prop.
Okay, so this is, when I was taught elementary school, this was something I would use a puppet to help students get motivated to read, the younger kids like kindergartners and first graders. So I would have the puppet, we would do read-alongs, and different sight words I would emphasize with the puppet, the word. It's a funny story because I was using it actually today, because we don't really have a lot of time to do props and stuff at our school, but there was a student that was asleep, so I was like, maybe I'll try the puppet. So I kind of knocked on the desk and said, so-and-so, you need to wake up and get back on track. And he looked at me and laughed and got on track and signed on his computer and started doing his work.
Cool. Dr. Jameson, what makes Mrs. Manier the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
You know, when we look at Teacher of the Year, I know in many cases in all school districts, they look at individuals who come from the core subject areas, English, math, science, and social studies. But there are other teachers that help our students achieve academically. Mrs. Manier is an example of that. You know, when I look at the data and I look at our graduation rate from last school year, you know, the students that Mrs. Manier touched in the ESE side of our school, 100% of those students graduated, you know, and that says wonders. And so from that perspective, you know, just the fact that she's advocating for not only the ESE students, but all students in general. And it goes back to our saying here in our school district, all students are capable of success, no excuses. That's the epitome of Mrs. Manier. She works with every and all students, and she helps them get across the stage.
So, Mrs. Manier, final question for you. Your selection as the Teacher of the Year performance-based qualifies you automatically to be their spokesperson. Visitors may come, community members may come. What's your message?
Kind of what he said is there's no children, all children are capable of learning. You have to find a way to educate and teach them. And sometimes it can be very hard, but you can find a way to make sure everybody's successful and walk across the stage. And we do follow up with them after they graduate to make sure they're in college or in a job or a vocation, and they do come back and visit us. So just you got to keep that in mind, is you got to find a way to work with every student.
Continue to work with every student. Great way for us to end this segment and tell both of you thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year at Performance Base.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Edward Morales. I'm the manager for the Publications Department for the St. Lucie Public Schools. Welcome to the print shop. One of the most important part of my job is to get things on time for the schools. Our objective is to get everything to the schools in less than 3 days. So some of the challenges we have here in the print shop is to get good pricing for raw paper, cover paper. The supply chain is a little bit difficult nowadays, but we're working on it. We have a great team. We have a team of 8, 9, including me. We have 3 printers, 3 binderies. We have a graphic designer. We have a team that is cohesive. They work together. They know what to do. They're professionals. They're proactive. They accept challenges, and they're determined to get the work to the schools. My favorite part of the day is coming in, say hello to the team, seeing that everybody is here with a happy face and ready to go. Yo soy Edward Morales y yo soy St. Lucie Public School.
We're excited to welcome to our show the wonderful Dana Sheffield, Teacher of the Year for Port St. Lucie High. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
She's brought along with her the very dynamic, terrific Nicole Talise, who's the awesome principal there. Mrs. Talise, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have this opportunity to speak with you and all the Teachers of the Year. Why? Because you represent the best of the best, and it gives us an opportunity to introduce our teachers, some of our teachers, to our viewers. With that being said, briefly introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Dana Sheffield. I grew up in Tampa, graduated from high school there, went to UNC, and got my bachelor's there, and then my master's in New York, 2 different masters in New York, and I have been in this county for 17 years.
All right. Ms. Talise?
Well, hi. I'm Nicole Talise, obviously the principal of Port St. Lucie High School. I've been in education for 22 years. I was a special education teacher, and since then have been in administration at both Southport Middle School and now Port St. Lucie High.
How does it feel, Ms. Sheffield? What do you make of being chosen Port St. Lucie's High Teacher of the Year?
Humbled.
Awesome.
That I was accepted by my peers.
Have you always known that you wanted to be a teacher?
I don't know that I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, but I've always been involved in teaching, starting from preschoolers up.
So what's your favorite part of what you do every day?
The relationships with the kids.
Relationships with kids. And you're working with high school kids. How do you make relationships when they come and go and they're adults?
And sometimes they're ugly. I meet them where they're at. I start where they're at, and I get to know them personally before I start to try to say, okay, we need to do this and this. If I don't know where they're coming from, I don't know where I can get them to go.
I know the staff pretty well at Port St. Lucie High, and I'm going to brag on you for a second. To be chosen as their Teacher of the Year, you've got to be good at what you do. What do you think makes you a good teacher?
I guess I'm compassionate and I'm empathetic, and I don't believe that I'm judgmental. I accept the kids where they come in at, and we work to get better.
Ms. Solis, you get to witness the magic happen every day. If I stumbled on your campus and said, let's go see your awesome Teacher of the Year, what would I see happening in her classroom?
Well, obviously, as a graduation coach, you never know which classroom you're going to find her in, because she's kind of all over campus doing exactly what she said, building relationships, and that's what you're going to watch and see. You're going to see her interacting with our at-risk students and making sure that they're on campus, that they're working towards their goals. You're going to see her assisting other teachers with those students and just being a collaborative part of campus and of the lives of these kids and the teachers.
Give me 3 descriptors of her, 3 adjectives that describes your Teacher of the Year.
I would say dedicated, caring, and knowledgeable.
Explain those for me.
Well, dedicated, she's involved in everything. She's there from as soon as I get on campus, and she's usually the last one who leaves because she's involved in all of our after-school athletics. So she's there all day. It doesn't matter what needs to be done. She's going to be there. She's going to be a part of it. Caring, probably because exactly what she said. That really is her approach to education. She gets to know the students personally. She cares about them. She cares about what's going on in their life, and she's going to do anything within her power to make their situation better. And knowledgeable, she's been at it for a long time. She probably has more knowledge in her pinky than I did coming on a high school campus 2 years ago.
What do you love, Ms. Sheffield, most about teaching?
Most about teaching. The interaction with kids, not getting stalemated. Nothing is ever the same. It's always new, no matter what. You don't know what you're going to get for the day. It could be a good scenario, or you might have to curtail something that's being difficult for someone. You could have a student coming crying, and you're having to decipher what's going on and how can I best help.
At this point in your career, what do you see as your greatest professional accomplishment?
My students that come back later on and say, thank you. You did make a difference. And I really didn't like what you were telling me to do at the time, but I get it now.
So when you reflect on things that we have dealt with, experienced as educators, what do you see is one of the most pressing educational issues today?
Well, besides the COVID time that we've had and some of the kids becoming apathetic or have lack of motivation, I think the technology, the phones, the wanting to always text and not having direct conversation with people, not being able to look people in the eye and speak. They'd rather text it versus speak it.
So, Ms. Solis, what makes Mrs. Sheffield the perfect candidate for this honor?
I think really it's just who she is as a person. You know, in our district, our whole mission is to make sure that kids are graduating from safe and caring schools equipped with the knowledge and skills that they need to succeed, and that's exactly what she does in her role. She helps to create a safe and caring campus by getting to know the kids and making sure that she helps them overcome the barriers that they have in their life, and she will not give up until they walk across that stage, and that's the end game for all of us. So I think she's really representative of what we're all trying to accomplish, whether we're a pre-K teacher or a high school teacher.
Ms. Sheffield, what do you love most about what you do?
Everything.
Expand on that for me.
The adults that I deal with, and I help young teachers. They'll come and they'll say, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I help them. Or the kids or the parents that call and they're frustrated. They say, what do I need? What can I do? Can we have a meeting? Can we talk? Can you talk to my child? Can you call them in? All of that being a part and trying to help and be an advocate for the children as well as the parents, letting the kids know Your parent is trying to help you. They're not your enemy.
Let me shift a little bit. We've talked a lot about the professional. Dana Sheffield, tell us one thing that we wouldn't naturally know about you.
I have played the violin since I was in 3rd grade, and I've played in an orchestra as an adult.
So we can put you in the pit and you're gonna play for us?
Well, I didn't say that, but I could.
Sure you would, sure you would. Speed round. I'm gonna throw out some favorites and you give me a quick response. Ready? Favorite food?
Crabs and oysters.
Favorite restaurant?
Bluefish in Jacksonville.
Favorite movie?
Blindside.
Really great movie. The Death Crossing? Oh man, oh yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I'm off task, right? Favorite sports team?
UNC.
Favorite song?
You Raised Me Up by Josh Groban.
Very inspirational. Favorite quote?
Serenity Prayer.
Oh, what grant me? See, I'm there, see, I would see. Okay, I ask you to bring along a prop with you that kind of describes you as a teacher and what you do each day. Share your prop with us.
Well, my prop is the end game, whether you're in kindergarten or whether you're in high school. The end game is we want a mortarboard to wear, we want our transcripts to be complete, and we want that diploma. That's my end game.
Graduation coach.
That's it.
Getting them across the stage.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if they want to go into vocation, go directly into the workforce, but without the diploma, they're going to be hindered.
Very difficult. Ms. Talise,
Yes.
last question for you. Is there anything that you haven't shared about the wonderful Dana Sheffield that you want to share with us?
I think it's just that she has such a positive impact across our campus, not just in her interaction with students, but I can speak personally to coming on the campus new 2 years ago, how welcomed and cared for she made me feel. So she has that same impact on, like she said, our new teachers coming in, our veteran teachers who might have had a bad day, you know, our students, our parents. I think it's just, it goes beyond just what she does in her role, but overall she just really helps to build a positive culture on the campus, and it leaves a legacy.
Ms. Sheffield, final question for you. You are the ambassador of education for Port St. Lucie High. Having an opportunity to speak to many people, what's your message?
You can achieve whatever you decide. Don't let someone else make your goal, their goal, yours. You set your goal and reach it.
I loved when you talked about the end game, dedicated, caring, and knowledgeable. Thank you for all that you do every day for our students. Mrs. Talise, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your selection, Teacher of the Year at Port St. Lucie High.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
My name is Michael Brown, and welcome to St. Lucie Transportation. We have 325 routes that make up 12,471 bus stops per day. On average, we transport 23,000 students each and every day. We have 25 mechanics responsible for 397 buses in our fleet, and they go in for a 30-point state-required inspection every 28 days. I feel that as a bus driver, my position is a very intricate one in the St. Lucie school system. Without us transporting the majority of the school's populations, our leaders of tomorrow wouldn't have an easy access to their education. I would say the most important aspect of my job is delivering my children to and from school in a safe, timely manner. I want to be a role model for my kids as well. Some of the challenges of my position, being able to drive while maintaining control of my students. I often have upward to 50 to 60 kids, you know, at any given time between routes. I think the most rewarding part is just watching my children grow, you know, into adults. I watch them flourish in life, and just knowing that I was a part of it. I'm Michael Brown, and I am St. Lucie Public School.
Oh, it's our pleasure to welcome to our show at this time the wonderful Miss Irene Small, who's the fantastic Teacher of the Year at Mosaic Digital Academy. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Perry.
She's brought with her our very good friend, the very proud principal there, Miss Jean Zimba. Miss Zimba, welcome.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to see both of you and to have this opportunity to talk with you and to celebrate your selection as the Teacher of the Year. To get us started, let's have you introduce yourself briefly to our viewers.
Well, again, my name is Irene Schmall. I am currently the school counselor for Mosaic Digital Academy. I was born in Miami and moved up here to St. Lucie County when I was 8. I was part of the second graduating class of Treasure Coast High School. And then I went to Indian River State College in hopes of becoming a nurse. I did the allied health program, dual enrollment, everything under the sun when I was in high school, and knew that my purpose in life was to serve others. And then I chickened out, and I ended up going into human services. I got my bachelor's degree at IRSC, and then I worked as a case manager in substance abuse and mental health facilities. And then the opportunity for teaching came up to make a big career move, and I thought, what a great way to help others and help them at a younger age and help them become successful humans. And I ended up teaching at Port St. Lucie High School. I helped to develop the biomedical program. I taught three courses, 3 levels. They earn their EKG certifications in the second year of the program, and then the third they work towards their biotechnician assistant certification. And I got the opportunity to learn at University of Florida and getting my certifications in both of those subjects. And then I ended up signing up for the Swell program with St. Lucie County and got into the first cohort to become a school counselor. So I did my master's at FAU, and then did my internship at Westgate K-8. I got the experience of the K-8 level, and then I ended up at Mosaic and now work with the high school students there.
Awesome. Ms. Zimba, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. I'm Jean Zimba. I'm the principal for Mosaic Digital Academy, and I taught here in St. Lucie County for many, many years before becoming a librarian and then a school principal. And I'm also from Miami, so we have that in common. And I'm just so happy to be here with my Teacher of the Year.
Awesome. So we better get this out of the way because we know we have a lot of people from Treasure Coast watching. Titan born?
Titan bred.
Titan bred. Okay, we fulfilled our mission there, okay? So tell me, how does it feel to know that you have been selected by your peers to represent them as their Teacher of the Year?
I was incredibly honored. I am the one that is there to support my teachers and like to be in the background and helping them be successful. So for them to choose me, I literally, they walked into my office and I was like, no, you didn't. No, I did not. Stop lying to me.
Can't be true.
No, I was like, no.
Pinch me.
Yeah. Yes.
So tell me, you gotta be really good. You gotta know your stuff to be selected as Mosaic's Teacher of the Year. What do you think makes you a good teacher?
What makes me a good teacher is my 100% building my relationships with my students. That is the first thing I like to build with them, build that rapport, get to know them, because that's what helps me figure out how to help them be successful. It helps me think about when I'm scheduling them for classes. I like to listen to their interests and what they're interested in the future, and just really making those connections with my kids.
Allied health major, nursing originally, substance abuse counselor. When you think about your journey and your transition into education, do you think someone influenced the way you work with students?
Everyone that I kind of ran into, any leaders that I was with, they always put me in charge of training or helping. And when I got this opportunity really working in substance abuse, I got to hear a lot of stories, and it really made me realize how important it is to have people, positive people, influential people in young students' lives, because it really does truly make a difference when they're an adult.
So, Ms. Zimba, you have the opportunity to see Ms. Schmall work every day. I'm visiting your campus and you say, come on, walk with me, Doc. What would I see once we entered her room or saw her working with students?
Well, you're definitely going to be seeing her talking with students, whether it's in Microsoft Teams or on the phone or even in person. Ms. Schmall is always talking to students and parents and teachers. but she's always communicating, and that collaboration with teachers helps them to do their job well and to help to support the students. But you're always seeing Ms. Schmall smiling and always very, very helpful and supportive of the work that we're doing at Mosaic.
Describe her for me with 3 adjectives.
Dedicated is definitely the first word that comes to mind. She's so dedicated and she's so committed to every aspect of her role as a counselor, as an employee of St. Lucie County. She's super dedicated. She's also just very hardworking. When she starts a job, it's going to be finished. That's going to be completed 100%. She's very, very hardworking. And I think the final word would be compassion. Compassionate. She's super compassionate for everyone, her teammates, her students, the parents. Parents have come to us with struggles too, and we really want to make sure that we're supportive of the family when they make a decision to bring their child to a virtual setting.
Understand. So because you're always talking to students or parents, tell me what you might say to a student or to a parent to help them ensure that their child will be a success in this virtual world?
Well, I would give them nothing but words of encouragement. I think because kind of how society is and students are so on like social media, they need nothing but someone to build them up, give them the motivation, and I would tell them that I will be here for them every step of the way. I always make sure that they have every way to contact me when I'm at school, whether it's my office number, my team's information, my email. I'm like, there's 3 different ways to get a hold of me. If you can't get a hold of me in any of those ways, call the office and have them hunt me down. So I really make sure that I let them know that I am here and I will help them and guide them in any way that they need.
So at this point in your career, what do you look back to say as your proudest professional achievement?
My master's degree. I always wanted to go back to school. If I could be a professional student, I would be a professional student, but I can't. So my master's degree is my biggest accomplishment, working full-time as a teacher and then doing my practicum and internship as a counselor and doing that and doing all my classes and my homework and all of that. It was during the pandemic. It was very stressful, but it is my proudest accomplishment. I never thought I could actually do it, and then now that I look back on it, I'm like, I can't believe I did that.
So Ms. Zimba, what makes Ms. Small the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
Oh my goodness, you heard her journey, that she came from St. Lucie County Public Schools. She graduated from our schools. She went through IRSC as a dual enrollment student, finished her degree, came back as a teacher. That right there, that journey is just one part of it, but you can see the impact that St. Lucie County had on her as she interacts with students here in this community. It's exactly what our superintendent wants to have our educators to do, communicating in positive ways with our students in the community. And she's just wonderful to everyone that she's interacting with in our school program as well.
So let's have some fun.
Okay.
Let's play a game of favorites.
Okay.
I'll give the favorites, you give the response. Ready?
Yes.
Favorite food?
Chips and salsa.
Favorite restaurant?
Castaways in Jensen.
I've got to visit there. Okay, favorite movie?
Probably Legally Blonde.
The Bend and Snap, I heard
Yes.
you. The favorite sports team?
Oh, right. Okay, all Miami, but huge Miami Dolphins fan, huge Miami Hurricanes, Miami everything. But right now, the Dolphins, I need them to win.
Fins up. Okay, we hear you. Favorite song?
I don't have like a specific favorite song, but right now, Bad Bunny's my favorite. He is a Spanish rapper, singer, and huge philanthropist, and literally everything. I'm obsessed.
I don't know him. Favorite quote?
My favorite quote, it's in my office. It's 100. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And it's by Wayne Gretzky, but it was quoted by Michael Scott in The Office. And it's true. If I don't take the shot of going for my master's, I would have
You
never
missed.
done it. Yes. So I tailored it that way when I talk to the kids, and when they're hesitant about something, I'm like, you're going to miss 100% of the shots you're not taking. If you want to do it, go for it.
Awesome. Favorite color?
Blue.
My favorite color too. So we ask you to bring along with you a prop that kind of describes you. So share with us your prop.
Okay. My prop looks a little boring, but it's actually a box full of everything my students have ever given me. Whenever I'm having a bad day, or I think about, am I really making an impact? I just open this up and I literally read through all of it. I have drawings, I have notes, I have random post-its that they would leave at my desk when I was in the classroom, and I keep it all. And I have other art paintings that students have given me that are in my office that I carry with me wherever I go. But this is my main thing. This is what I look at, and then I'm like, when I read it, I'm like, okay, I am making a difference.
Gotcha. Ms. Zimbo, is there anything else that you want to add about your wonderful Teacher of the Year?
Yes, Miss Irene Schmall is absolutely the candidate that needs to win Teacher of the Year. I wish that she could have this honor every single year, every single day of the year, actually, because she's just absolutely, see how much fun she is?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tons.
Her energy is so welcoming to our students, and they want to be able to talk to people that are just open and giving them a chance to listen. I listened to her today when she was onboarding our brand new students for this semester, and she's just so positive. The kids were very happy and smiling and very excited about all the things that she was sharing, and that's exactly what you want.
Awesome. Final question for you. You're automatically, by your selection as Teacher of the Year, the spokesperson for Mosaic. What's your message?
Oh, that's a tough question. My message is there is opportunity anywhere that you go, whether it's going to a virtual school, whether it's going to a gen ed school, or any other type of educational opportunity that we have. It's there.
Thank you both for joining us for the show. Thank you for the opportunities that you provide to those students every day in your role as counselor. And congratulations on your selection as Teacher of the Year at Mosaic.
Thank you so much.
My name is Anna Babcock. I am a teacher at Fairlawn Elementary, teaching K-5 gifted and high achieving. And this is my 16th year in St. Lucie Public Schools. I believe the most important aspect of my job is having the privilege to develop that next upcoming generation of students to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Elementary is the foundation. Our students, sometimes this is their first experience in school. They are with us for several years compared to middle and high school. So it's the opportunity of planting that seed for the love of learning and just making them passionate about learning. I try to keep our students fully engaged, like giving them an environment that they take ownership in their learning. My favorite part of the day is when I get to teach math. I just get really excited about it. I love numbers. The most rewarding part of my job is observing my students when they have that moment of feeling successful. It's that moment where you can see it in their face. They light up, they're smiling ear to ear, and you just know in that moment they're feeling so good about themselves and proud of the accomplishment. I am Anna Babcock. I am St. Lucie Public Schools.
We're excited to welcome to our show at this time the wonderful Miss Tana Labar, who is the awesome Teacher of the Year over at Samuel S. Gaines Academy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Pleasure having you as well. She's brought with her my fantastic friend, the proud principal there, Mr. Keith Davis. Welcome, Mr. Davis.
Good day. How are you, Doc?
All is well. All is well. We're excited to have this opportunity to meet our Teachers of the Year, but more so to introduce them to the public because you represent the best of the best. So just introduce yourself to our viewers for me, please.
Okay. My name, like you said, is Tana Labar, and this is my 24th year teaching. I started out in New York, and I went to University of Cortland and got my degree in elementary education with a minor in psychology of the exceptional child. Then after that, I dabbled and did some courses at George Mason University because I moved to Virginia, where I then got my courses to get my certification in ESE. And then I also got my master's in curriculum and instruction from the University of Phoenix.
Cool. Mr. Davis, introduce yourself, please.
Good day. I'm Keith Davis. I'm the principal of Samuel S. Gaines Academy of Emerging Technologies. This is year 7 year. However, I'm in my 27th year. 30th year. Well, I had to do a recount there. However, I'm a proud graduate of Fort Pierce Central High School, class of '87. Go Cobras.
Go Cobras.
But I also am a graduate of South Carolina State University, and I am also a proud dad, and just happy to be part of the St. Lucie Public Schools and be able to be part of the system.
So, Mr. Davis, I'm not going to let you get away without telling our viewers. I know we're here to celebrate Ms. LaBar, but if you don't tell it, I'm going to have to.
I will tell it. I am the representative of Principal of the Year for St. Lucie Public Schools.
Yes, we're excited.
And it is a wonderful thing to be able to be a representative for all of my colleagues that have worked so hard, and I'm the proud one to stand this year for them.
Awesome, awesome. So, Ms. LaBar, let's jump right in with you. Tell me, how does it feel to know that your peers chose you as their representative for Teacher of the Year from Samuel S. Gaines?
I was so humbled and so honored that they would choose me. I can even say that I'm sure Mr. Davis could attest that when they came into the room, I was even crying because I was just so in shock, and the kids were screaming and were really excited. So I'm just absolutely honored to be able to sit here today in front of you.
So when you think about your career as a teacher, do you think you pattern the work that you do after someone that might have had an influence on you?
Well, there's been so many people that have influenced me throughout my career, especially with 24 years. And then also, while you're going to school too, it feels like my whole life has been a career of school, right? But I have to say the one person that really motivated me the most was my uncle, who has autism. And I grew up with him my whole life, and I watched how there was so many people that looked down on him and didn't think that he could accomplish some things that he really could. And just to see him overcome those challenges was absolutely an inspiration for me to work with students in ESE.
So when did you first fall in love with teaching?
Well, I've been thinking about that and reflecting, because I did love it when I was a little kid. My mom had daycare, and I would be the one, during breaks and the summer that would do school with the little kids and everything. But then also there's a pharmacy background in my family. So I have an uncle and two cousins that are pharmacists. And I had a propensity for science and math. So I originally went to be a pharmacist, and I sat there for one semester of college and was like, I think I'm a little too personable to be sitting behind a counter all day just counting pills. And I decided to go back to my love of teaching again. And then I had the opportunity to play Helen Keller in a professional theater. And that's when it just clicked with me, because I brought it back with what I started with my uncle. And just to see me playing Helen Keller and her having the disabilities, but my main inspiration was that character, Annie Sullivan, that was able to get through to someone that everyone said could never learn. And she was able to get through to her, and just her story is amazing. And that's when I was like, I don't know why I went around the table, but this is what I'm going to do. And I've been doing it ever since.
So tell me, what makes you a good teacher?
I think what makes me a good teacher is my passion for my students. My students are my life. I unfortunately never had the chance, was not able to have children of my own. So when I walk in that classroom every day, they are my kids, but they're not just my kids when they're there. When they graduate, when they move on, they're still with me. And I also think, if you look at my Facebook page, almost every single person on my page is a former colleague, a former parent, or a former student. And I still keep in touch with them 24 years later. I'm always still their cheerleader. I will always be there by their side. I always get the Merry Christmases and the calls. And I think just showing them my love and that I care for them and that I'm always there for them makes me a good teacher.
So, Mr. Davis,
yes,
share with me what a day may be like if I were to visit Ms. LaBar's class.
Okay, so when they say the term of an outside classroom, well, Ms. LaBar has like 3 different outside classrooms. There's a classroom of just waiting on the students during a pickup or dismissal, that time, but then there's the time in the auditoria when she's talking to her students, getting to know them, seeing how their day went. And then there's the classroom itself. So we're gonna talk about just the classroom itself. So as you are bending the corner, you will hear about, oh, there's a campfire going today. I'm like, oh my God, a campfire. And they're like, no, it's in Ms. LaBar's class. They're doing it. And I was like, oh, let me go see this. So I go in and I see it. So in her room, she has transformed it to this whole campfire. The kids are sitting in, and it's not a real fire, but the kids are sitting in, it's lit perfectly well. And the wonderful thing about it, the kids are engaged. You can hear them having conversations, and the unit is pretty much based on, or the standard is based on, things that you will encounter during a camp. And so there's music playing for it. She's actually having the students converse with it. One extra thing is the fact that she's taken time to instill that passion that she mentioned earlier. That's that passion that she's going around and making sure all of her kids, and this is an IND class. So it's that extra additional piece that knows that she is really connecting with her students.
Describe Ms. LaBar for me using 3 adjectives and tell me why those 3.
Okay, well, she mentioned one, passion. I have to kind of definitely go with that. She also has high energy, but the one main one that kind of stands out is the awe-inspiring piece. It's a wonderful thing. Teachers oftentimes talk about being able to see that aha moment. Ms. LaBar encounters that daily, just ongoing, just because of like I said, it's an IND class. And so being able to just make the basic connections and her just transcending it, it's just one of those things. You sit in long enough, you're going to be able to be inspired also. So those are the 3 words that pretty much describe her.
So, Ms. LaBar, I am the educational genie, and I'm granting wishes to everyone that's the Teacher of the Year. I'm giving you 3, but one of them has to be a wish for education. What's your wish for education?
I think my wish for education would be that we have a lot more social emotional learning and looking at the mental health of the students. When I first started teaching 24 years ago, the world is so much different now. We didn't have the school shootings, we didn't have all this other stuff, the COVID, all these things that these kids are going through, the economy now, and some kids are being homeless and things like that. So I feel like I love that we do that at Sam Gaines. We always take time every day to have our morning circles and to make sure that our kids get that mental health support and social emotional learning. So I would wish that we could incorporate more of that into all the schools, because that's what kids need right now.
Let's have some fun. Play a game of favorites with you.
Okay.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite restaurant?
I would have to say 12A Bowie.
Okay. Pizza, but seafood. Gotcha.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm from New York, though, so I haven't found a good pizza place here yet. Okay.
Understand. Favorite movie?
I would have to say Forrest Gump.
Favorite sports team?
The Yankees.
Ooh, favorite song?
I would have to say How Can It Be by Lauren Daigle.
Favorite inspirational quote?
I wouldn't say it's I'm stealing a quote actually from a previous student.
Okay.
And he's now a motivational speaker. He was in my resource room years ago, and he always says, "What's your why?" And when I mentor teachers and everything, I like to go back to that when they're frustrated and look and say, let's look back and what's our why?
Okay, favorite color?
Pink.
Okay, you obvious today, right? You brought along a prop. Share with us. Share with us your prop.
Well, my prop is, it's just all through my career of teaching, I have collected all the articles that my kids have been in the newspaper. They've been on the website. They've been in the school newsletters. We've been on the news. And for all the, like, we've done community service projects and pillows for patients. The kids made the pillows and we delivered them, and all the things that I've done with the kids throughout, I love to keep as a keepsake, but I also love to go back and think, oh, that's right, I forgot I did that, and that would be perfect for this class this year. So that is my motivation and also my memories right there. So
Mr. Davis, what makes Ms. Labar the perfect candidate for Teacher of the Year?
You know, you have some people that just gets it. She's one of those that just gets it. She understands the balance of the needs of the students, the concerns of parents, and then she understands the systems that education is around. And she does a balance with all of that. And so to be able to speak to every group and every organization on how to be that awe-inspiring moment, she can definitely deliver that every time.
So, Mr. Labar, last question for you. Your selection as the Teacher of the Year mandates that you're the spokesperson for Samuel S. Gaines, Everything Education. Business people, community people, partners, they may need to hear what's right, what's good, what's best about education. What's your message?
My biggest message would be that all kids can learn. Every single child can learn. It doesn't matter, I don't like to use the word disability, it doesn't matter what their abilities are, all kids can learn. And it's our job as educators to go back and look at what we've taught the kids and how they're doing, look at the data, and decide, how can I tweak that? How can I make it different so that I can have that aha moment? So I think that that's one of the biggest things, is just going out and saying that every single child deserves an education. They all can learn. And I love that Sam Gaines includes my students in everything that we do, in after school programs and everything. And I just love to see them getting the same opportunities that every other student is getting.
Thank you for reminding us that all means all.
Yes.
Thank you both for joining us as we celebrate the fantastic nominees that have been selected as Teacher of the Year here in our district, and congratulations on being one of them.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
Pleasure.
Hello, my name is Edward Morales. I'm the manager for the Publications Department for the San Lucie Public Schools. Welcome to the print shop. One of the most important part of my job is to get things on time for the schools. Our objective is to get everything to the schools in less than 3 days. So some of the challenges we have here in the print shop is to get good pricing for raw paper, cover paper. The supply chain is a little bit difficult nowadays, but we're working on it. We have a great team. We have a team of 8, 9, including me. We have 3 printers, 3 binderies. We have a graphic designer. We have a team that is cohesive. They work together. They know what to do. They're professionals. They're proactive. They accept challenges, and they're determined to get the work to the schools. My favorite part of the day is coming in, say hello to the team, seeing that everybody is here with a happy face and ready to go. Yo soy Edward Morales y yo soy San Lucie Public Schools.
Wow, what an amazing and inspiring group of educators. We applaud these teachers who devote their professional lives to enriching the lives of St. Lucie Public School students. The Teacher of the Year Award is a call to service that comes with a responsibility and obligation to elevate students and the profession. The award isn't about being the best teacher, it's about being chosen to represent the best teachers and the honor of being called to represent such an incredible profession. Thank you to each of these wonderful teachers for being exemplary role models and caring people. We thank them for sharing their knowledge and for showing acceptance, approval, and appreciation. Every day they make a difference and do that something that truly matters. Every day they leave an undeniable mark on the future. Congratulations to each of them.